Now let me show you how to use KLIBOR futures for arbitrage strategy. So to implement arbitrage, you need to find mispricing. If there is any mispricing, then you can implement arbitrage strategy. But the first step for identifying any mispricing, you need to estimate the fair value of the instruments, fair value of KLIBOR futures. So for the previous futures contracts, I shared a formula with you, but for KLIBOR futures, because it's about interest rates, the method is a bit different. So let's identify the price of KLIBOR futures. You remember how we identify, how we report the KLIBOR futures price? It's an index which is 100 minus the KLIBOR rate, 100 minus the interest rates, right? And let's have a look at this timeline. So at June KLIBOR futures means that it's the interest rate on a 3-month period in June, right? So if you are using you're buying or selling 3-month, let's say June KLIBOR futures, this means that we are talking about the in 3-month rate in June, right? So if the KLIBOR futures price, let's say, is June KLIBOR futures is priced at 90, this means that we expect the interest rate in June, the 3-month interest rate in June will be 10%, right? 100 minus 90. So now let's have a look at this example. We want to identify any mispricing. So the first step is to estimate the price of the fair value or price of futures contract, KLIBOR futures. Now, suppose you go to the market, and in the market you can find the, let's say, KLIBOR. June KLIBOR futures contract at 94.10. So suppose that the KLIBOR futures June KLIBOR futures contract is traded at 94.10. So now we need to know whether this is overpriced or underpriced, right? What's the fair value for this contract, this futures contract? Suppose that you already know, you go to the market, of course you know the interest rate. A 3-month rate is 6% today. So now is March, and it's very easy to check what is the interest rate today. Suppose the rate today is 6% for a 3-month period, and for 6 months the rate is 6.5%. So this is today. March is today. We are in March. So today you can check the interest rate of on a 6-month debt instrument and on a 3-month debt instrument and a 6-month debt instrument. Suppose the rate on a 3-month debt instrument is 6% and the rate on a 6-month debt instrument is 6.5%. These are the information you can get from the market, right? Now, can we predict the interest rate on a 3-month debt instrument in June? Yes, we already know that a long-term interest rate is the average of future short-term interest rates, right? So how to find the interest rate here? It means when I say we want to know the interest rate on a 3-month debt instrument in June, this means we want to know the interest rate on these periods, right? So how to compute? The long-term interest rate is the average of future short-term interest rates, right? So 1 plus, here I use a rough estimation, and here is the accurate formula, right? So 1 plus 6.5%, and you adjust it for a 6-month period, equals 1 plus 6% for 3 months multiplied by 1 plus the interest rate we want to find for 3-month period. If you do the calculation, interest rate is 6.9%. Or you can use another formula, a more accurate formula. So 1 plus interest rate for a 6-month period is 1 plus short term multiplied by 1 plus short term. Of course, here is the power is 2 because it's 2 periods, right? So 2 periods, right? So this formula comes from the financial markets or other subjects that you have. And this one is 7, based on this calculation here is 7%. Okay, let's go with the rough estimation, which is 6.9%. So based on your calculation, which is very easy, easy to use, very easy to compute. If you have today, if you have a 3-month interest rate and 6-month interest rate, easily you can compute the 3-month interest rate in the next 3 months, right? So based on your calculation, the interest rate in June on a 3-month debt instrument should be 6.9%. But based on the question, June KLIBOR future is traded at 94.1. What is the meaning of this 6.9%? This means that the futures, June KLIBOR futures should be priced at 100 minus 6.9%. But actually, currently, the price is 94.1. So it should be 100 minus 6.9, means it should be 93.1, but actually it is 94.1, right? So this means there is mispricing, so you can implement arbitrage opportunity. So what you do here, so because this is, let's go back here, because it is currently traded at 94.1, but it should be 93.1, so it's overpriced. So what you do, you short it, you sell it. Here, look at this, you sell it. You sell 1 June KLIBOR futures at 94.10. Now, this is arbitrage. It means you want to have riskless profit. It means you don't want to be affected by interest rate changes later, right? So you want to lock in the profit, right? So what do? You need to offset your position. So when you sell futures contract, you need to you short futures contract. Now you need to here you can see short means sell means or short or sell means borrowing money. Long or buy means lending money, right? So here you already short means you already borrowed 3-month fund at 5.9%, right? When you short June KLIBOR futures at 94.10, this means you are borrowing at 5.9%. Now, how to take an offset position, how to do arbitrage? We need to take an additional reverse position on the same underlying asset, right? So what you do is you need to lend money, because selling means borrowing. This means if you lend, this borrowing with the lending position will cancel out each other. What is left is the mispricing profit, means that the profit comes from the mispricing, right? So you won't be affected. If interest rate goes up or down, the value of the borrowing and lending will move against each other. They will cancel out each other. What is left is the mispricing profit. The profit comes derived from the mispricing. So we already know, we don't have any doubt that we should, because the contract was overpriced, so we should short the contract, right? Should short June contract. But short June contract, this means borrowing 3-month funds, right? You remember from this slide that I shared with you. So you need to borrow. This means that you are borrowing. This is translated to you need to borrow you are borrowing 3-month funds at 5.9%, 100 minus this. Now, how to complete this arbitrage? We don't want to be affected by interest rate changes. Now let's you need to lend in June for 3 months. If you lend in June for 3 months, then you won't be affected by interest rate changes, right? How to lend? Today we are in March. How I can lend in June? How can I cannot go to a financial institution and say I want to, or to someone and say, hey, I want to lend to you in June, right? So what you do is to lend in June, to cancel, to cover this borrowing in June. I can look at this. So here, number 2, we need to lend. Why lend? because this is, remember, for arbitrage, if you short futures contract, you need to long the underlying asset, right? So here you are shorting this, and this means now what to do on the underlying asset. What to do? This means you need to long or lend money in June. So how to lend for 3 months in June now? The solution is today you lend for 6 months, and at the same time you borrow for 3 months today. So the borrowing, the green one here, the borrowing for 3 months today will cancel out the first 6 month lending, the first 3 month lending. So it will this green one will cancel out the first 3 months of the blue curve. These two will cancel out each other, right? The first part. What is left is lending for 3 months starting in June. So if you deduct the green from blue, this means the 3 month borrowing for 3 months starting in June will cancel out the lending and the first 3 month lending till June. And what is left is lending for 3 months starting in June. And this will complete your arbitrage strategy, because you needed to lend for 3 months in June, right? Okay, so this is the way we implement arbitrage strategy. And you can if you want to check whether it works or not, just construct those tables that you already have seen and do the calculation. But this is the way we implement arbitrage strategy.